This question was, what should a person's blood pressure readings be, and should it be different with different ages and sexes? Well, you know what, personally, I think if I look at a healthy body, no matter what age, really, I'm looking at 120/60. Of course, as you get older, you're going to get more kidney failure, but then we rebuild those and then they go back to normal blood pressures. So a normal healthy blood pressure, spot on, is textbook, is 120/60. Both arms. Anything below 120 is low blood pressure, that's your adrenal glands. And anything above, say 75/80, you're starting to the kidneys are starting to back up themselves. And you can have kidney filtration problems and still maintain a 60 to 75 diastolic and still lose your kidney's ability to filter. It's only when the kidneys themselves start breaking down that, or start losing, get highly inflamed or acidic themselves, or the lymph system within the kidneys themselves start having serious problems. That's when you see your creatinine start going up to 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, and you also see your blood pressure start climbing. The diastolic influences the systolic a lot, so I never pay much attention to the systolic, that's the cardiac punch, but I really look at the diastolic, and that's your kidneys. And so 120/60. Blood pressure always low like that is the adrenals. Low systolic is always adrenals. Now low diastolic, I don't like that one either. That's weak kidneys. And you don't want to have too weak of kidneys. It's all right to have kidneys that have been maybe a little damaged and you repair them and rebuild them okay. But genetically, real weak kidneys can run you some really low blood pressure diastolically, and I don't like that one. Systolic through the adrenals, again, that tells you have real weak adrenals. So when you add real weak adrenals on top of kidneys, what you have is lymphatic problems. As a rule. Her blood pressure is about 80. I need a drink. Get this, guys. Her blood pressure is 88/40. That's serious. That is serious. 40? That's serious. That's seriously weak kidneys. And 88? Very low adrenal glands. So I would get the kidney glandular, the adrenal glandular, and then I'd get the kidney tinctures and the lymphatic tinctures, and I'd go hard into this woman because she is a poor thing. 88 blood pressure on systolic. No wonder she's on anti-anxiety medications. And I can't imagine where she gets the energy to have life. I hope the thyroid's pumping well, because I can tell you her blood pressure is so low here that makes for chronic fatigue, unhappiness, no desire to do anything. And 40 is you're losing your kidneys big time. I check her creatinine for sure. You need to have 58 to 65 at least in the kidney pressure. That's the diastolic, or you got weak kidneys. And 40, that's not good at all. She also had depression. Here's the parathyroid. So all her endos are down. I'd go up to that pituitary. I'd get her on the gland tonic. I'd take a look at that pituitary. Look at her eyes again, Brandon, and look at that parathyroid. Also that thyroid. But then look at that pituitary and see if that's not a big involvement here. That's why I say take a glandular. If you have the desire to do that, take an adrenal glandular, the New Zealand glandulars, I would. And if you're real low, take 400s. If not, take 200s. So if you're 110 or above, 200s. But if you're at 100 or so, take 400s. And do 1-3 times. I would do 1-3 times a day, because this will pick up these adrenal glands. All high blood pressure cases are low blood pressure cases. Why? Because the adrenals and kidneys are always involved. You're looking at those for blood pressure readings. And you got one on each side, so do your left side and check your right side, because you have a kidney and adrenal bilaterally. And you have different blood pressures each side, depending upon the condition of the adrenal on each side, that's the systolic, and the condition of the kidney on the bottom, which is diastolic. Her, let's see, these are some of my blood pressures, 109/85. She's age 55. So 85 is too high, honey. So get that 85 down to 60. Now you're at 105. All right, or 109. So if you take 85 and you bring that down to 60 to 70, what's going to happen to 109? Yep, you got it right on. You're going to go way down below 100 probably. And so you're going to really feel that fatigue from that. Don't get beat up. That's your adrenals. Go use those glandulars. Because when you're chronic like that, got to use those glandulars. They really help. If not, hit the herbal formulas, and I'd add licorice to it. We took our licorice out of our adrenals because people have to take it even with high blood pressure. But licorice is great for low blood pressure. It'll pull up your blood pressure quicker, and it's more like a cortisol. It's anti-inflammatory or antacid. So low blood pressure, dear doc. Something concerning me a lot is my low blood pressure, as it should, below 90. Eesh. Yeah, 90 over 60. The 60 is good. That's your kidneys. But the 90 is your adrenal glands. And yeah, I would be concerned. I take the new brain and nerve formula. That'll at least strengthen up the nervous system. At the same time, if it was me, I'd probably do adrenal 160. It's a glandular, but you'd probably want to do two or three times a day. And it's still going to take you a little while to get that up there. At the same time, work on your kidneys and your lymphatics, because the kidney, you know, it's funny. The adrenals shut down the kidneys back up the lymph backs up the adrenals more, then the adrenals, you know, it's just a never-ending story. So you want to really get on the kidneys and lymphatics simultaneously. You're working on your adrenal glands, believe it or not, and also work up the gut and clean all that out too. I usually feel exhausted. Well, you would, you know, that your adrenals are like a battery charger. They're recharged. If you consider the human body an alkaline rechargeable batteries, the nervous system and the adrenals the recharging unit, you'll see that the neurological conditions like MS in particular, but Lou Gehrig's and Parkinson's, they don't hold charges long. And anything that takes out their charge makes them weaker, like hot, heat, acids. They're really highly acidic. So when you add more acids to the mix, then they have more problems. They lose their ears, they lose their breathing. And this shows you the neurological connection to acidosis. And the adrenals are the recharging units there, and so you got to get your adrenals up. That's why you're exhausted. The more the adrenals are charging the autonomic, the longer you can go. And there's a time where the adrenals just are continuous charging. You just don't get tired. You can go run for 5 miles and stop because you're bored. You notice your blood pressure went up to from 90 over 55, and now it's 100 over 58. Well, you're coming up, sweetheart. And so keep working on that. Keep working on that. You want to bring that, because as you bring that blood pressure up, you know you're bringing your adrenals and kidneys up. And you know you want to be somewhere between 60 and 70 diastolically, but systolically you want to be close to 120, you know, and you'll feel so much better. And then you know your neurotransmitters are going up there, you know your steroids are being produced, your estrogen, progesterone will balance out, everybody will be happy and healthy. So good work, sweetheart, good work. He also has really low blood pressure. There you go. There's the adrenals right there. And of course that means low neurotransmitters. Low neurotransmitters means nerve rings. Nerve rings in the eye. Nerve rings in the eye means myelin sheath decay. Myelin sheath decay means, neuropathies. The lower you get on top, serious problems. Look at the kids. The children of the day have 80, 70, 80 as their systolic blood pressures. And you wonder why there's autism? You give someone a neurotoxin like a vaccine with thimerosal, you put them under surgery with that weak of an autonomic nervous system, you can kill them. And that's what's going on. A lot of deaths because of these things, and a lot of autism because we don't understand as a society what neurotoxins are, what the adrenal glands do, what the autonomic system's all about, and what genetics is all about. And I think it's all simple. And you do too, I know you do. The way you read my videos, and I love you for it. I appreciate that. My blood pressure is still low, 90 over 60. I know. You know, well, you could try some licorice root, see if that licorice root, it'll definitely help with pain too, and it definitely controls blood sugar, so licorice root off. Blood pressure is high, you can't do the adrenal for you. Anything with licorice, you don't want to use licorice in high blood pressure cases because it makes your blood pressure go up.